Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. What planet are you from? The New Testament. Catching some Z's. Note the quotation marks. I need more space. Historic amours. And Monopoly. Where do we begin, player one? It has seasonal weather patterns and iron-rich minerals in the soil, giving it a distinct red color. Okay, player one.
Yeah!
That's correct. Player one, back to you. Greater in mass than all the other planets combined, it's surrounded by dozens of moons. Let's hear it, player one.
Yeah!
Hey, you're right. Player one. It's the smallest and densest of the outer gas giants and has an appropriate name, as it has a watery interior. It's player one.
Woo!
Yes. You again, player one. Its mean distance from the sun is only about 36 million miles. Yes, player one. Good for you. We return to you, player one. Bands of debris and ice surround it, as do its satellites, including Titan. Okay, player one. Yes.
Yeah! Woo!
Player one, choose again. Jesus grew up in this town in the southern part of Galilee. Yes, player one. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Nazareth. You again, player one. In Luke, this angel told Zacharias that his wife Elizabeth would bear a son, and thou shalt call him John. Player one.
Woo!
Right you are. Player one, choose again. The book of John records him as saying, "Except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, I will not believe." Player one? Yes. You get to pick again, player one. Jesus was referring to this fisherman when he said, "Upon this rock I will build my church." Okay, player one. That's correct. Player one, you pick again, please. It's the Daily Double. You are currently in the lead. You need to select your wager. Answer this. On the road to Damascus, this future epistle writer was asked by Jesus, "Why persecutest thou me?" You are correct. Please pick again, player one. Each defender guards a section of the playing area in this system of sports defense. Okay, player one.
Yeah!
We return to you, player one. This Italian squash can be eaten raw, steamed or grilled, or baked in a sweet bread. Yes, player one. Yes. Select again. Two-word term for the weightlessness experienced by astronauts in orbit. It's player one. Right you are.
Yeah! Woo!
Please pick again, player one. Here's Kelly.
It's the point on the celestial sphere vertically above a given position.
Let's hear it, player one. Right. Player 1. Pick again. The LOZI people moved to higher ground during the annual flooding of this African river. Player 1? Sorry, that's wrong. Here's what we wanted. The Zambezi. Player 1. Pick again. At KFC, you can lunch on chicken. At KSC, this place, you can lunch with an astronaut. Here's what we were looking for. Kennedy Space Center. Player 1, you pick again, please. This Mattel doll became an astronaut in 1965, perhaps inspiring the young Sally Ride. Okay, Player 1. You got it. Please pick again, Player 1. Now available again, Quisp, which has a space alien mascot, is a type of this breakfast food. We're talking about cereal. You again, Player 1. This TV series wasn't about the Swiss Family Robinson, but the Space Family Robinson. Player 1? No. Here's the correct response. Lost in Space. Player 1, you pick again, please. This 1956 film was a sci-fi version of The Tempest. Robbie the Robot was inspired by Ariel. Here's the correct response. Forbidden Planet. You again, Player 1. This dictator's rumored romp with Pompey's wife was even riskier than his fling with Cleopatra. It's Player 1. Right. Player 1, you pick again, please. When this great guy became king of Judea, he banished his first wife, Doris, and married a princess named Mariamne. Okay, Player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Herod the Great. Player 1, you pick again, please. For 13 years, Madame de Montespan was the sunshine of this Sun King's life. Here's the response we were looking for. Louis XIV. Player 1, pick again. The Earl of Bothwell led the plot to murder this queen's second husband 3 months before becoming hubby number 3. We're talking about Mary, Queen of Scots. We return to you, Player 1. The Duchess of Portsmouth was the least popular mistress of this merry monarch, and that was quite a contest. Here's what we wanted. Charles II. Please pick again, Player 1. A classic PBS kids series that taught reading shared its name with this Monopoly utility. It's Player 1. You are correct. Player 1, back to you. Each time a player passes go, he collects this salary. Player 1? You are correct. Player 1, pick again. A question mark is on the space in which you draw one of these cards. It's Player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1, you pick again, please. Tokens that are household items include the iron and this sewing accessory. It's Player 1. You got it. And now the $1,000 clue. A railroad and an avenue are both named for this state. It's Player 1. Yeah! The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. Let's see what happens in Double Jeopardy with these categories awaiting the players. Science. 19th century literature. U.S. history. Samuel L. Jackson. Tea time. and U.S. museums. Let's get back into this now. You have control of the board. It's the weakest of the four basic forces, but it's strong enough to keep the moon orbiting the Earth. Okay, player one. Good. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Here's Jimmy with the clue.
A cubic inch of material contains 1,000,000 billion billion of these, each with protons and neutrons in its nucleus.
It's player one. That is correct. Select again. Changes in the tropospheric layer of this are what give us weather. Let's hear it, player one. You got it.
Yeah! Woo!
You again, player one. To test deep water structures, wave tanks generate waves, wind, and this water flow, from the Latin for running. Yes, player one? Good. We return to you, player one. The name of this eighth element is from a Greek word meaning sharp. Here's the correct response. Oxygen. Player one, choose again. You'll find whaleboats not only in his masterpiece, but also in his story Benito Sereno and his novel Mardi. The correct response is Herman Melville. We return to you, player one. You'll find whaleboats not only in his masterpiece, but also in his story Benito Sereno and his novel Mardi. Here's the response we were looking for. Simon Legree. Player one, choose again. In Pedro Antonio de Alarcon's The Three-Cornered This, a miller thinks his wife is having an affair with the mayor. Here's what we wanted. Hat. Player one, choose again. Answer, the first of the daily doubles. And you have the lead. What are you going to wager? Answer, the last name of the title character of this Thomas Hardy novel is actually Derbyfield. Here's the response we were looking for. Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Player one, you pick again, please. For 14 years, the Abbé Faria was his fellow prisoner in the Chateau d'If. Here's the correct response. Edmond Dantes. Player one, back to you for our next selection. On August 21st, 1959, it became our 50th state. It's player one. Yes.
Yeah! Woo!
Player one, choose again. In 1963, he spoke of his dream that his children would one day not be judged by the color of their skin. Okay, player one. Yes. Player one, choose again. It's the period from 1920 to 1933 when alcoholic beverages were illegal. It's player one. Right.
Yeah!
Player one, back to you. Here's Jimmy. He'll show you.
This U.S. company introduced the first TV dinner in 1954.
Here's what we were looking for. Swanson. Player one, pick again. Stephen Douglas proposed the act that repealed the Missouri Compromise and created Kansas and this territory. It's player one. Yep.
Yeah!
You get to pick again, player one. In the late 80s, Sam was the rehearsal stand-in for this comedy legend on his self-titled sitcom. Here's what we were looking for. Bill Cosby. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Sam proclaimed, "And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee," in this 1994 film. Here's the response we were looking for. Pulp Fiction. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Sam made brief appearances as this character in Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Okay, Player 1. Right. We return to you, Player 1. As Elijah Price, Sam was the frail antithesis to Bruce Willis in this 2000 flick. Here's the correct response. Unbreakable. We return to you, Player 1. Lucius Best was the secret identity of this ultra-cool Incredibles character, voiced by Sam. Player 1. Yeah, good. Select again. It's the T in ATM, or physicist Edward. Player 1. That's it. Player 1. Pick again. It can mean to veer or to go sour as applied to milk. Here's the correct response. To turn. Player 1, choose again. Another name for a billy club or a policeman's baton. Here's what we wanted. A truncheon. We return to you, Player 1. It's a sustained pull applied mechanically to correct fractured or dislocated bones. Here's the correct response. Traction. Please pick again, Player 1. Answer. The other daily double. You are in first place. How much are you going to wager, Player 1? Answer. In some religious beliefs, it's the process of transference of a soul into another body at death. Yes. Select again. You can get customized gree-gree bags at the historic Voodoo Museum on Dumaine Street in this city. Here's what we wanted. New Orleans. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. As this society has a long history, maps were the theme of a major 2007 exhibit at its museum, Explorers Hall. We're talking about National Geographic. You get to pick again, Player 1. You can ham it up at a museum in this Virginia town. It houses a ham cured in 1902. Here's what we were looking for. Smithfield. Please pick again, Player 1. The U.S. Space and Rocket Center in this Alabama city contains a vast collection of rockets and space memorabilia. The correct response is Huntsville. Now let's take a look at that $2,000 clue, shall we? An arm of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, the LA Museum of this, teaches about bigotry, racism, and the Holocaust. The correct response is tolerance. You are moving on to Final Jeopardy, which will continue after these messages. We've got the Final Jeopardy round here for you, and today it features this category. 16th century names. So, what's your wager? Now, let's reveal the Final Jeopardy clue. Paul III roared at him, "I have waited 30 years for your services. Now I'm Pope. Can't I satisfy my desire?" What did you put as your response? Sorry, that incorrect response will drop your score by... Here's the response we were looking for. Michelangelo. This makes you our new champion, Player 1, so congratulations. Thanks for playing. We'll see you next time.
is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. Ice cream. When did it happen? What are you made of? Sweet pea. Steve Martin movies. And animals. All right, let's get back into this. Player one has control of the board. Cohen and Greenfield are the last names of the co-founders of this company that created Cherry Garcia ice cream. Yes, player one? That is correct. Player one, pick again. Though it started with just 31 flavors, this chain now has more than 1,000, including SPF 31. Player one? Right you are. Player one, back to you. This treat gets its name because a certain fruit is cut lengthwise and then topped with ice cream, nuts, and whipped cream. Let's hear it, player one. Yep. We return to you, player one. This three-flavored ice cream is named for an Italian city. Yes, player one? Here's what we wanted. Neapolitan. You get to pick again, player one. Many claim to have invented these. One man made them from waffles at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. It's player one. Right. Select again. And here's Sarah.
JFK won the presidential nomination at the Democratic National Convention in this year.
It's player one. Right. Select again. The U.S. declared war against Spain on April 25th of this year. Player one? Is correct. Player one. Pick again. Bastille Day in France commemorates an event on this date in 1789. It's player one. Right you are. Player one, you pick again, please. The Sons of Liberty threw one heck of a tea party in Boston on December 16th of this year. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Player one, pick again. King John affixed his seal to the Magna Carta at Runnymede in June of this year. Player one? That's correct. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Queen Elizabeth II at Madame Tussauds. Yes, player one? Nope. Here's what we were looking for. Wax. Player one. Pick again. Moses by Michelangelo at San Pietro in Vincoli, Rome. Yes, player one? That's right. Way to go. Player 1, back to you. Tecumseh on Cheers. Okay, Player 1.
Yeah!
That's it. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Here's Kelly from our Clue Crew with the clue.
The warriors of China's first Qin emperor are made of this. It's Italian for baked earth.
Yes, Player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1, pick again. St. John the Baptist by Donatello at Siena Cathedral. Okay, Player 1. Correct. Player 1, choose again. Carnations and sweet williams belong to this colorful family of flowering plants. Okay, Player 1. Yes. You get to pick again, Player 1. Gene Fowler's biography of John Barrymore is called Good Night, Sweet This. It's Player 1. Correct. Please pick again, Player 1. Perhaps an alteration of the word potato, this word follows sweet in a slang term for a pretty girl. Okay, Player 1. You are correct. Player 1, pick again. This Hall of Fame NFL running back was nicknamed Sweetness. Okay, Player 1. You got it. You again, Player 1. Answer. It's the Daily Double. And you're in the lead now, Player 1. Give us a wager. Answer this. If you're served sweetbreads in a restaurant, you're eating either thymus or this part of an animal. Good. You get to pick again, Player 1. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Chevy Chase were these title characters of a 1986 comedy. It's Player 1. Correct. Select again. In Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Steve Martin told him, "Those aren't pillows." Yes, Player 1? Yep. Player 1, pick again. This 1987 comedy in which Steve played Fire Chief C.D. Bales was based on Cyrano de Bergerac. Yes, Player 1? Good. Player 1, back to you. Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt are the parents of an extremely large brood in this 2003 remake. Yes, Player 1? Yes. You get to pick again, Player 1. Steve Martin, Owen Wilson, and Jack Black are competitive birders in this 2011 comedy. Okay, Player 1. That's correct. Player 1, pick again. Let's get Kelly's assistance on this clue.
1 in every 6 known bird species makes its home in this rainforest.
It's Player 1. Correct. Select again. Sputniks 5, 6, 9, and 10 carried these animals into space. Yes, player 1? That's right. Way to go.
Woo!
Player 1. Pick again. Got one of these odorous animals, also known as a polecat, as a pet? Call your Humane Society to make sure it's legal. Let's hear it, player 1. Correct. Player 1, choose again. Critters of the Pleistocene epoch include the mammoth and this breast-tooth relative. Player 1?
Yeah!
Yes. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. Dachs, as in Dachshund, is German for this burrowing animal. Okay, player 1. That is correct. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. And we have 2 daily doubles awaiting you in these categories. The essence of things. The arts. I want to be college football coaching legends. Anatomy and medicine. And U.S. city history. Let's get back into this now. You have control of the board. A covering for the blade of a knife. Let's hear it, player 1. Right. You get to pick again, player 1. You'll be a contender if you know this term for a boxer who jabs with his right. The correct response is a southpaw. Player 1, you pick again, please. The deliberate destruction of property or equipment by resistance fighters or enemy agents. Yes, player 1? Here's the correct response. Sabotage. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Old school inhalant to give you a nicotine rush. Player 1?
Yeah!
Yes. Player 1, pick again. From the Urdu for soldier, it was an Indian native who served in the British Army in the 1800s. Okay, player 1? Yes. We return to you, player 1. The Gobelin factory of France was famous for these wall hangings and began manufacturing them around 1600. Player 1? Oh, sorry. We're talking about tapestries. You get to pick again, player 1. This author of Timon of Athens was part owner of London's Blackfriars Theatre. Player 1? No. The correct response is William Shakespeare. We return to you, player 1. Beginning around 1790 in New York City, Duncan Fife was a leader in the artful manufacturing of this. Here's what we wanted. Furniture. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Answer, one of the daily doubles. And you're in the lead now. Player 1, please select your wager. Here is your clue. His portrait of Jonathan Buttall is known as the Blue Boy. Good. Player 1, you pick again, please. Kelly?
Beginning around 447 BC, Phidias supervised the making of the sculptures for this ancient structure.
Okay, Player 1. No. Here's what we wanted. The Parthenon. You again, Player 1. One of these dancers, so I'm practicing my arabesques and pirouettes so I can perform with the Kirov. Okay, Player 1. Right. You again, Player 1. One of these, from the Greek for star sailor, like John Glenn or Buzz Aldrin. Let's hear it, Player 1.
Yeah.
Good. Player 1, back to you. One of these, and deal with the health problems of vicunas, pintos, and Great Danes. Yes, Player 1? Yes. Player 1, back to you. Like Martin Luther King and the Dalai Lama, and be honored with this humanitarian prize given in Oslo. Okay, Player 1. Good. Player 1. This, from the Greek for straight, and make some big bucks correcting crooked teeth with braces. Let's hear it, Player 1. Very good.
Yeah. Woo.
Select again. Woody Hayes, 1951 to 1978. Player 1? Yes. Player 1, back to you. Bo Schembechler, 1969 to 1989. Let's hear it, Player 1. Is correct. Player 1, you pick again, please. Answer?
Yeah.
The second daily double, and you're in the lead now. Player 1, give us a wager. And the daily double clue. Tom Osborne, 1973, 1997. Right. You again, Player 1. Bobby Bowden, 1976 to 2009. Okay, Player 1. Yep. You again, Player 1. Vince Dooley, 1964 to 1988. Okay, Player 1.
Yeah.
Hey, you're right. You again, Player 1. It's a network of nerves, like the solar one. Yes, Player 1. Yes. You again, Player 1. Nephrology is a medical specialty concerned with these organs. Player 1. Right. Player 1, choose again. It's also called the auditory tube, and when it's blocked, an earache can result. It's Player 1. Right. Please pick again, Player 1. From the Greek for bad mold, it's an abnormal growth of tissue or bone. Dogs get it in their hips. Yes, player one?
Yeah!
That's right. Way to go. Player one, choose again. These 5 bones make up the palm of the hand. Okay, player one. Correct. You get to pick again, player one. This Missouri city wasn't named for Scott or Janice, but for the Reverend Harris G., an early settler there. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Please pick again, player one. 2 months before the Declaration of Independence, the Rhode Island Independence Act was signed in this city. Let's hear it, player one. You got it.
Yeah! Woo!
You get to pick again, player one. It was Arizona's territorial capital from 1867 to 1877, and a university was founded there in 1885. Yes, player one? Right. Select again. Indianapolis was laid out in a wheel pattern inspired by this other major city some 500 miles away. Yes, player one? Right. And the $2,000 clue? Let's get Jimmy's assistance on this clue.
It was uninhabited when it was chosen as a territorial capital in 1836 and named for a president who died that year.
Player one? Hey, you're right.
Yeah! Woo!
You will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. So much depends on how you do in the Final Jeopardy category, which today is Characters in Shakespeare. Please enter your wager. Let's take a look at that Final Jeopardy clue right now. To the consternation of the title character, we learn that this character was born by C-section. Did you come up with the correct response? And this correct response will add how much to your score? Congratulations, player one. You are our new champion. Thanks for playing, everybody. See you next time.